Hello everybody, John here at the Midnight Paint and Body YouTube channel. On this video we are once again tackling rocker panels and cab corners on this 2011 Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck. So here's the thing, guys. So if you are a follower, supporter of the channel, thank you, but you've probably seen this already. Obviously, I've done videos on this exact subject on these exact trucks, but it is what I'm working on this week, so I thought I would video anyway, because you might be new to the channel, and this might be what you're looking for. It might help you out, so that is why I make the videos. So in this case, 2011 Dodge half-ton 4x4, I think. You know what? This is a really clean little truck. This thing has only got 113,000 kilometers on it. So, is that like, I don't know, 65,000 miles, something like that? So really low mileage. Very much worth fixing, because this thing has a ton of life left in it. So here is what we're doing. So the usual rockers and cab corners, they all do it. Even nice low mileage little trucks like this. You see, this one's got some rust along the bottom of the door as well, so might need to talk to the customer about that, but that's okay. So yeah, this side, I mean, doesn't look terrible, but you know, by the time you see that, they are through. They always are. We'll go around to the other side. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's got like the ram head design right into the spray-on bed liner. Never seen that before. Kind of neat. This side. Obviously a little worse. Probably not worse, probably exactly the same. It's just I bet I could do that over there too. So, now obviously my shop is jammed right now. I've got, well, 3 big projects. I mean, the Mustang's not apart yet, but it's getting close to where I'm gonna rip into it. So, bear with me, we have to work around all of this stuff. That's what happens when you have a bunch of cars that can't move. So, first things first, I'm just going to get this thing ripped apart. I'm going to get the box off, we'll get the doors off, and we'll move on to the rockers. I'll show you guys what we're working with. Alright guys, so there's our quick little teardown done. So the bed off, doors off, all of the trim and door seals are off because we're going to need to drill these spot welds. But before we get into that, I figured I would take you over the parts like I usually do. So our rocker panels. So these are full OE style rocker panels. 09 to... What year are these? Hold on. So this truck is an 11, and these are, okay, 09 to 18. So we'll start with our rockers. So these are, of course, for a quad cab, extended cab. Dodge has always messed me up because they call them different things, but small back door anyway. So our passenger side rocker panel, RRP 3386. That is the part number right there that you will need if you want to order these. And your local auto parts store can usually get them. So 3386 for the passenger side. So the driver's side will be an RRP 3385. The RRP designation is a rust repair panel. Our cab corners. So this will be our passenger side, RRP 3952. So driver's side should be an RRP 3951. So there are the part numbers, guys. These have gotten ridiculously expensive. These used to be the rockers. I always paid around $500 a piece. And then those cab corners were like 120, but I think when I got the parts now for this customer, one side was 6 something, one side was just over 700, and then the cab corners are around $200 a piece. Of course, that's Canadian dollars. Yeah, man, things just keep going up. It is getting harder and harder to be a self-employed body man, that's for sure. I know it's getting harder and harder for everybody just to get by on a wage, but anyway, I won't get into bitching about that, because that's a whole other thing. So our next step on this thing, guys, we're going to be cutting this rocker and cab corner off. So our rocker panel will go up, round about there somewhere. So all of these spot welds need to be drilled out, and then we'll trim back the rocker. I will show you guys how I do these. Like I said, I've done videos on these many times, but it's what I'm working on, so I'm doing another one. I always just drill these out with a drill bit. I don't usually use spot weld cutters, just as long as you don't drill all the way through, because that panel in behind, we're going to be welding the new panel too, so we don't want holes drilled right through it. I mean, if you do go right through once or twice, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want to. So I'm going to start drilling out spot welds, and I'll bring you guys along. So there is an idea what's going on the inside of these things. As you can see, even up at the front here, it didn't look bad, but there's nothing left. So that's pretty common. I get guys over the years who maybe just got the rockers just starting to burst through, and they ask if I can patch them up and maybe just put a section in. It's never worth it. This is always what's going on the inside, guys. And this one is actually really clean in here. It's not full of dirt and crap, so you can tell the truck hasn't been used, you know, on a lot of gravel roads, back roads and stuff, but still, it's super rusty. So, well, I'm gonna finish trimming all of this off, and I'll, yeah, see where we go next. So here's another little check-in, guys. So what I didn't show you earlier, which I should have mentioned, I usually do on these videos. So I've held the new rocker up and just marked where it goes to, but that isn't going to be our cut line because that was just it kind of sitting over top. So that's not precise, but that tells me where to stay below for now. So same in here, I've got just below my line. I have unbolted the bottom of the front fender. These have one bolt inside. It's kind of tough to get to. You have to go in from the fender liner side, so you've got to unbolt all the liner, then you can get up from the inside. You can take the fender right off too, but then you're taking out the grille and headlights and everything. I found on these you can do it just by pulling the fender back. Something else I didn't mention, when you are cutting off your old panels, always be mindful that there are backing panels. So this is all the structure inside. You know, this is actually where the strength is. This is just sheet metal on the outside. So you don't want to go cutting, you know, deep in with your zip cut. So now you can see here, I actually did cut into the inner structure a little bit, but I will be trimming more of this off. Once this is trimmed off, I'll have full access there, and I can weld that up and smooth it off and prime it before putting a new panel over top. So yeah, all of that pretty straightforward so far. It is just roughly cut out. Nothing has been fit yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just start cleaning up some of this inner. We'll grind all of this smooth where we're gonna be welding to. And then I like to take a wire wheel and just clean up any rust I can, and then I'll coat all these inners with some rust preventative paint before putting a new rocker over top. So it just gives them a little extra protection. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that, clean up this inner, and then we'll move on to fitting our new panel. So I've got our rocker panel all fitted up, guys, so it's basically ready to go on. I've taken my hole punch and punched holes for plug welds all around the perimeter. Now our inside panel, so you can see where I've got these masked off. That's because I'm going to coat the inside of this just with some Krylon rust paint. I mask those off because that we want left bare metal that we're going to be welding to, but I will actually put some weld-through primer on it before the panel goes on, but we don't want it coated with this stuff. So the reason I use this stuff, it's just cheap protection. I'm going to coat the heck out of everything. It's a brand new can, which it needs to be stirred a little better, so I'll do that and come back. But yeah, I'm going to coat the inside of everything, coat the inside of the new rocker panel. I find this stuff is a lot better than using like an aerosol, like spray can, because it's nice and thick. It gives a good, it seals everything up good, a nice, I don't know, nice thick finish compared to hitting it with a spray can. That stuff doesn't seem to last very well. So this is kind of my go-to. So I'm going to stir this up a little better, and then we'll just kind of coat the inside of everything. all that paint inside is still wet, but it doesn't matter right now. So I've just gone ahead and obviously clamped the panel into place. I'm going to take a few self-tappers and put this on with a few screws, and then we can try fitting our doors, because you can't weld anything until you know absolutely for sure that your gaps are good. So always need to put the doors back on before you can weld anything at all. I mean, it's okay to maybe put a couple tack welds on, but if you do need to shift the panel, then you need to be able to break those tack welds free. I find usually, as long as you have everything lined up properly on these, they just fit, but you have to be sure. So I just threw the doors back on there, guys, and we appear to be bang on. So really hard to see, but you can see we have a really even gap the entire way. So I am very happy with that. That rocker panel is, I mean, it's in place. It can stay on there now. There shouldn't be any reason to take it back off. Okay, and since the doors are back on now, we can start fitting our cab corner, because you do need to have the rear door on to ensure the fit of the cab corner as well. So you can see I've just kind of loosely trimmed everything out. Now, I always try and point this out on these cab corners. Most of these panels, they give you extra metal. Just because the panel goes up to there doesn't mean you need to go all the way up. I mean, if your rust goes all the way up there, then of course, but I've never found it necessary to go above this body line on these, on any of them, GM, Dodge, Ford, whatever. I find you can usually stay low, and I always like to stay below this body line, so I will probably cut it in right about there, and then we can paint just to this body line, so that keeps the job simpler too than, you know, if you go above that body line, then you're painting that whole cab corner. So I am just going to clean up a little bit, and we'll start doing some more trimming and fitting up that cab corner to where it's going to stay. Alright, a little more trimming. You can see I always cut big. I leave extra metal. Never cut on the line the first time. The way I do it, I'd rather trim it back than have taken too much off. So I'm going to trim this back and we'll be fitting until we get this fitting right in there. Well, it's the next day here, everybody, so I've basically just gotten started. So I got this cab corner fitted up yesterday, so basically I've just done a little bit of welding while the doors are on. So I welded up this back seam, so you can see the way we're going to join our cab corner to the rocker. I left, man, like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch of metal that's just kind of slid under the rocker, so that this gave me a little tighter fit. So I'll just weld up that seam, and this will have to be smoothed off. And then, yeah, I did a bit of a weld on the inside. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a bad fit there, so I'm going to have to cut a sliver of metal for this one. I cut it a little too much, but that's not the end of the world. So, yeah, everything's fitting really good. So I am at the point now where I'm going to pop these doors back off, get everything sealed up really good in the cab, and continue doing all the welding. So I jumped ahead a little bit on you guys. So here's our passenger side completely welded up and cleaned up. So personally, I like to take this black e-coat off of these new panels when they're on the bottom like this, just so I know myself I'm starting fresh with really good epoxy primer and high build primer, and getting the epoxy primer right onto the bare metal, not on top of that black e-coat primer. I mean, it's fine, you can sand it and prime right over it, and it's okay, but this just gives me a little more peace of mind personally. So as you can see now, it's just some fairly minor body work to just fill the seams. So everywhere we've joined it, I am going to just give it a light coat of Duraglass body filler to seal up those welds, and then we'll finish it off with a little bit of regular body filler. So that's pretty much all there is to it. I was going to mention too, I get a lot of guys asking about welder settings. Now, every machine is so different. Everybody using the machine is so different, so it's tough to, there isn't one setting that's going to work for everybody. Now my machine, this is an old Miller 135, 110 volt. This machine has been absolutely phenomenal. I've had this thing for 20 years, and it gets used a lot, and it has always worked well. So I use 023 wire for sheet metal all the time. That's all I keep in my machine. I'm usually set right around 5 on the volts and right around 50 on the wire speed all the time, unless I'm working with something a little heavier and I crank it up, but that's pretty much where my machine stays. So it's about right for what I do. So that might help you out, it might not. Like I say, what works for me might not work for you, but might give you a guideline if you're just starting out. So I think I'm just going to smash my first coat of fiberglass filler on this thing, and then turn the truck around where I can see better and just start on the other side. So I won't record the other side, obviously, you just saw this side, but I'll keep you in the loop of the next steps until we get this ready for primer. So I have jumped way ahead on you guys. I'm kind of hustling today, never even turned the camera on. So our rocker panels and cab corners are completely welded on and body worked. So a little bit of fiberglass filler and regular body filler to smooth out the welds. So we're ready for some primer. So it's actually the end of the day, but I just really wanted to get this primed today. So coat or two of epoxy primer, and then 2 or 3 coats of high build urethane primer, and then tomorrow we sand everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this primed up. I'll bring you guys back tomorrow when we move on to prepping. Well guys, I am afraid I am just not doing the best job bringing you along on all the steps on this one. I have jumped ahead again. So I have prepped up our rockers. Now, a couple different ways I do these. If there's other paint work on the truck, I will just paint the step area put the doors back on, and then paint the outside rockers with whatever else I'm painting. In this case, it's just rockers and cab corners. So I am just going to go ahead and get these painted. So this is pretty straightforward. The areas inside the door jambs, I am going to... Okay, the battery just died, but I'm back. So, like I was saying, in here we'll just blend off our paint, do a little bit of a solvent blend inside the door jambs. I have done a feather edge with my masking tape around this body line, and then back here around the corner we'll just blow up a little blend back there as well, and put some seam sealer along the back. So this stuff is straightforward, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this painted. And it's Friday now, so I'll bring you guys back on Monday for assembly. Well, happy Monday, everybody. It is a brand new week. So here is our painted rockers and cab corners. So you can see, I kind of showed you guys where I just blended off my paint, a little solvent blend in the door jambs, masked off along this body line here, and then blended up a little bit at the back. So once I run the polisher over that cab corner, it'll all blend in and match nicely. You can see the difference now because this is just so yellowed from age, but that's going to clean up no problem. So it's actually pouring rain outside, so I don't really want to move vehicles around first thing, so I figured I will just do some assembly right here in the paint booth for a little bit. Just start putting some of this trim on, and if I have to, I'll bring the doors in here one by one and get them on the truck. One thing I am going to do though before bolting this together, now I don't know how well you guys can see, but you know, stuff like this, like the inside of these front fenders, are pretty darn rusty, especially down in the bottom here. So I mean, stuff like that, guys, that's not part of the job that I am doing on this truck. You know, it was brought in for rockers and cab corners, but these fenders are not going to last long the way they are. So I think I'm going to just wire wheel the best I can inside there, and I'll coat that with some of that black rust preventative paint that I do all the inners with all the time before bolting it back together. It's going to make them last a lot longer. Yeah, this front lip is pretty bad as well, so maybe I'll do the same here. See, this part actually is covered by the mud flap, so if I just put some of that black paint along that lip, it's going to make it last. It's going to make it last longer. You can see it's actually starting to disintegrate on that lip. But so yeah, just one of those little extras. I always try and do what I can to make these things last. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, a little assembly, and I'll bring you guys back as I can. Hopefully the rain stops and I can get some vehicles moved around and get this around to the other side of the shop where all the parts are.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Well, there's the 4 doors back on the truck and all the inside trim, so pretty straightforward. But like you kind of saw there, I actually forgot that this door had some really thick rust starting. It's actually kind of nasty. So I can't leave that So I'm going to take some pictures of it, contact the customer, and make sure he wants it cleaned up. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up. I can't see him not wanting it done. I mean, obviously it's a few extra hours work, but at the end of the day, I'm going to fix it regardless, because other than that, this is going to be a real clean little truck. Just that, yeah, for some reason, this door is nasty. So anyway, I will clean that up and get the bottom of this door painted in the next little bit, and I will keep you guys in the loop of the progress. So I have got our white Dodge truck here all put back together. Now I'm going to show you my final step on these. Now if you watch my channel, you will probably have seen me do this before, but if you're new to the channel, I'm going to show you. So these trucks have a series of these rubber plugs along the bottom of the rocker. I haven't put those back in yet because, set up the camera here, I'm going to take my undercoating gun. This is a pressure pot full of used motor oil. It's got this little wand. You can get into all kinds of tight little places. And I'm going to spray the inside of those rockers until the oil is pouring out the bottom. Let's see. I have no idea if you guys can see anything from that angle, but you see, this thing puts out, oh, I just sprayed it all over the truck, puts out quite a volume of oil. And yes, it makes a mess for a while, but after you wash the vehicle a couple times, you won't see it anymore. So my dogs are going crazy over there, and you can see it's already pouring out the bottom. So this is going to soak into all of these seams and pinch welds where I've sandwiched that metal. Now I did put the weld through primer in there, but obviously you burn some of it off doing the welding, and I mean, it's not, you know, the best primer. It is what it's for, is for welding through. So this is going to soak into everything and make it last longer. That might have been a little much. You can see she's just pouring out the bottom, but that's good. That's what we want. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll finish getting this thing washed up and get it back to the customer. Well, there she is. This guy is washed up, ready for the customer. Another one ready to go. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, I know I have done videos on these before, but you might be new to the channel and you might find this one and you might find it helpful. So I figured I would make the video anyway. So, if you like this one, check out my channel, find something else to watch. I appreciate that. It helps out the analytics and all that stuff. And if you haven't, you know, you could subscribe if you want to. Or if you don't want to, I don't care. It's up to you. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. And I hope you will come back and check out the next one.